We are going to get going. So welcome. This is the Richland County Public Safety Standing Committee meeting. And do a roll call, please.
Here. Kirk. Cosgrove. Frank.
Here.
Severson. Fleming. Here. At 444, sir.
Awesome. And welcome, Tiffany, to Public Safety. So any questions, any topics, anything you want to voice, please just make sure you get those questions out. Good to have you on board. So verification of open meeting law compliance, please. All right. Thank you very much. Looks like we have an 11-point agenda. I'm looking for item number 4, looking to approve that agenda. Cosgrove's motion. Fleming second. All in favor say aye. All right, that is approved. Anyone opposed? All right, moving forward. Item number 5, approval of the minutes from November 7th, 2025. Fleming gives motion to approve those. Looking for a second. Cosgrove seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye, approving the minutes. Perfect. Opposed, that is moved forward. Item number 6 is public comment. Anybody with some public comment? I have no forms here from any public, no one else here. Anybody online? Public comment, anybody online? Hearing none, moving on to item number 7, Sheriff's reports, Sheriff Department activities and monthly bills.
So if you'll see, Amber did create that old document with the monthly bills again. We've not had that the last few months due to the change in how we do payables. But we do have that again this month. We'll have it going forward for you to review. If there's any questions about that, I can start with that.
So Tiffany, we do ask that the sheriff produce a document so we can see what the monthly bills are. I think it's a good public vision of questions that might come up so people can kind of see what's going on with that.
Some of the larger things you'll see month to month that'll come through is going to be ACH or Advanced Correctional. It's our healthcare for the inmates. Helior, Summit Foods is usually a large one. Quick Trip is our fuel. We have our fuel cards through Quick Trip. So those are usually some of the bigger ones that you'll see recurring month to month.
Okay, it's a good overview. Any questions from the committee on the monthly bills? You want to go over activities? Anything particular there?
So for November, we had 45 bookings in the jail. Average number of inmates housed was 30.53. Monthly complaints, we had 367 complaints on the month, issued 37 traffic citations, and served 18 civil process papers. We had 1 transport during the month of November. Average number on electronic monitoring was 3. Dispatch activity, we had 610 calls per service, 90 calls for EMS, 127 calls for the police department, and 26 calls for the fire department. In addition to that, I probably saw that we announced Deputy Christian Sapek has retired officially again. I believe it was close to 44 years with just us here between his full-time career for which he retired and then coming back as part-time doing court and transports for us. So he's going to be missed. He's been very helpful in our schedule in court throughout the years, and especially since we went to the full-time court coverage, he's been here fairly often filling in when we had gaps in the schedule. So that'll be missed.
He was a great court security officer.
Yeah,
he really
enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. So, fleet update. The last time I talked to you guys, I said I had 2 F-150s that were in terrible condition. Good news, I have 1 F-150 that has a blown engine, and I have 1 F-150 that's repaired and back out in service. So hopefully it'll stay in good. Hopefully it'll stay in good shape. But and then we did get bids back for squads, and we received 3 bids from 3 different dealerships. Fillback, one that I can't think of the name of, over by Arlington, and then Ewald. And I have placed an order through Philback for a 2026 Ram and a 2026 Durango. I have not ordered a third vehicle yet. We may be looking for a cheaper option for that third vehicle for the investigator. Try and save a little bit of money yet. But the two patrol vehicles that I plan on getting have been ordered. We ordered through Philback. Philback was not the lowest bidder. I did have a discussion with Trish about that. They were actually underbid by $63 from another dealership. But there's A, we've had a good working relationship with Philback, and B, I can't drive to Waukesha with 2 or 3 people to get 2 cars and bring them back for $63. So that's kind of looked at it that way.
Local business, reasonable.
Yep.
I mean, for 60.
So.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we, actually, I think I did talk about that the last time that we hired Aaron Frederick as a part-time, dealer dispatcher. So.
Reverend Christian Sapek, did we want to do a recognition of years of service? Or I'm not sure if that was done the first time he retired.
Probably was done the first time, but I can look into that and we can.
Let's take a look. I think that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that many years of service and everything, I think
Yeah,
even coming back a second one would be
yeah.
noteworthy, I think, at this point.
And if it's notable on that, I think it would be appropriate for the courts to join in on
Okay.
that resolution, because in his second
So much of that was,
tour, he served the court. And
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's just plan on that because that would be a new one.
Right.
Adding the courts into that, I think that would be great.
but
okay, well, we can
Would
draft
you-
one.
yeah, you draft and we'll
Okay.
chime in, because you probably already have your templates and stuff.
Okay.
But we can
We'll
work
move
together.
forward on that wherever we get that to the county board. Perfect.
All right.
All right.
Sounds
Any,
good.
any other questions for?
I have one question.
Yes.
Back on the one sheet where it talked about monthly complaints. What are monthly complaints? What does that
call?
all entail?
So that is, when we get a call from the public and it's something we have to investigate, or we send a deputy to help
Okay.
deal with, whether it be crashes, a theft complaint, that's kind of all the different things we handle summed up into one number.
Okay.
Yep. And I wouldn't say that's like everything we handle. That's the stuff that would generate a report.
Okay.
Yep.
Good question? Other questions? All right. Anything else then, Sheriff?
No.
All right. Moving on then to coroner report. It's in the packet. Any questions on the coroner's report? It's in the packet. It's up on the screen. Thank you for expanding that. I know they're always looking for help. Deputy coroners there, so it's been a. All right, any questions on
Is
the?
that somebody applies from, is there some process that?
Yeah, actually, it's on the website.
On the web,
Yeah, it's on the county website if people are interested in
you
doing
can
it.
confirm that. That's a part-time position.
Well, it's not, it's
On call.
pay per call, yeah. All right, any questions on the coroner's report? Okay, hearing none, we are going to move forward then on to circuit court judge.
Judge McDougal has been feeling a little bit under the weather.
Oh.
She's been still conducting court and everything, but she's asked to, that I would give, to speak briefly on her behalf. So we've been kind of just taking care of business, actually. We still had the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee, which oversees the treatment court, and they've been moving forward with trying to strengthen that. And so they were recently approved by the board to, or by the committee to go to the national conference in Tennessee. And so they were kind of excited about that was approved. We do have also a courthouse security meeting coming up on December 15th. So if anyone is interested in attending that, that will be here in the county boardroom. It will be at 3 o'clock. We will try to be usually done by 4:30. And so anyone that can attend that, that would be greatly appreciated too, if you're interested in that. I don't know.
Is that on Zoom? Is that?
It is not on Zoom.
Okay.
I can contact MIS. It'll be here in this room if would prefer to have it. Would you be able to hear?
I'm not able to be here. I'll be, my daughter in Virginia, but I'd love to Zoom in. I mean, I could do that if that'd be available. It'd be great.
Okay, I will look into that.
Or whatever the format is they're using.
Okay. And, we'll just have more follow-up discussion following the Justice on Wheels and what we liked and like and stuff and some more detailed
Perfect.
discussions on that at that time. So, so that's coming up. And other than that, we have been preparing for 2026 some. And so that's pretty much all that she wanted to pass on.
Okay. Very good. That also then covers courthouse security, D.
Yeah, I don't.
Anything else for D? Security?
There's no concerns that.
I can't think of anything. New signs, I think, have been put
Yeah.
pretty much everywhere they needed
Yeah.
to be.
I believe the last time I was in the courtroom, I think I saw the new ones were up and.
Yeah, there's some like duplication of, between different signs. We should look sometime at all the signs that we have around and just
See which ones we can.
stick with the ones that are the all-inclusive, which the only thing about them is that they're not also in Spanish. And that's why we have but we do have the homemade ones that are in Spanish and hopefully say the same thing.
And that's something we need to look at.
We really should look at that.
If we need to look at having ones made of.
Yeah.
Bite off.
I think maybe that's a 2026.
Yeah.
We should have that as a goal for our language access plan.
Did we
Good.
have an interpreter at one point and we lost them or?
We've never had
Never.
we've never had a Richland County certified court one. So if we're doing court signage, we would need to have a certified person, which we can have.
Yeah,
We have a certified person by Zoom every couple of weeks for court, for scheduled interpreter court
sure.
stuff. And so we've got different people that we could say, hey, could you do this?
Take a
They'll
look at it.
charge pretty dearly, but
Yeah, but it's not gonna take real long just to do a few signs.
yeah, and it's kind of something we really should take care of for various reasons. Yeah. Access to court being the number one, we're supposed to try to achieve that.
Clay, do you want to, I know, so we did borrow the metal detector from Iowa County. I don't know if any of you were aware of that for Justice on Wheels.
Yeah, so, that's actually a good topic to discuss too as well, because it's something we've talked about at the courthouse security meeting quite a bit. So when the Supreme Court was here for Justice on Wheels, we borrowed and I'm not sure the exact model it is, but I demoed something very similar to it. But it's a metal detector, it's a single post stand. And you have people walk past it, turn around, and it'll indicate on that post where the metal object is on the person, height wise. So we borrowed that for Iowa County. Everybody who came into the building, whether they were going to the court side or the county office side of the building, was screened, bags were searched. Anybody who came into the building was checked. And it went smoother than I think a lot of us expected it to. Part of it, I think, was due to the layout and how that metal detector worked, because I think if we would have had the big walk-through box, that would have probably slowed us down a little bit. But I think in the morning, early morning, high traffic time, we staffed 2 people there. And then as the day went on and it was just kind of your normal in and out flow of traffic, we went down to just 1 person screening people, and it worked well. Again, going into the future, our big problem with doing that is going to be, we're going to have to staff it, and how does that look and who can we use to staff it? But I think it certainly showed that it's a feasible option for us. And although we would maybe do some things a little bit different with the layout down there, it's doable. So, we've talked about this on and off at past meetings. Whether we would do screenings for all like jury trials or do random screenings. I would say jury trials we would do a screening, but doing random checks throughout, I think it's a worthwhile thing we need to look into. And maybe capital borrowing in the future of purchasing one of these units. They're about $20,000. They're not cheap. They're more expensive than the walk-through box style, but they also can be utilized in the jail for us. We can use them for screening people going in and out of the jail. We can use them for screening objects going in and out of the jail. So it could fill multiple roles for us. One of the demos I saw, they were searching jail mattresses for contraband, and they just set it on 2 milk crates pointing down, and then you pull the mattress underneath of it, and it would indicate on the mattress where the metal object was. So it could have multiple uses for us, and I think it's something we need to look at for our capital borrowing for the future.
Have you ever been to, anybody here ever been to the courthouse in Sparta? In Monroe County? Should check out, I think they've redone their justice center. So I was up there 2 days ago for a district clerk's meeting, and they have an old facility, and then they have like an annex built on and whatever. There's definitely new and old there. So I don't know exactly what they've done, but they've remodeled then the entrance of the courthouse part, and that's where everybody then comes in through, and it's full on. It's just like Trempealeau County staffed by one person. And Trempealeau, when I've been up there, they've had 2. But there was one person when I came in, there was one person when I went out. When you go out, you don't go back through it. You go like to the side of it. But immediately when you come in, you cannot get past that without, take out of your pockets, put in the bowls, are you wearing a belt? Go through, do this, it goes off. Okay, you said you were wearing a belt. Is that, I need to see that, everything that I had went through the screener, just like airport, pretty much. And just like I've seen at Trempealeau, like I've seen La Crosse. So those are within our court district. That's 3 facilities that have almost identical screening: La Crosse, Monroe at Sparta, and Trempealeau. And there's other courthouses I haven't been to. I think Adams might have that as well. I was there a few years ago.
Monroe, it's like the sheriff's office. You go in the door and the sheriff's office is around to the left, and then there's stair and elevator to the corner.
Yeah, at Sparta, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is similar to Trempealeau. Like you go through the security, and then once you get through the security, you can go upstairs to the court.
Okay.
And this was the same deal. Like, I think they have maybe 3. Do you know if they have 3 branches, 2 judges, or 3 at Monroe?
I don't know, actually.
I think there's 3, because I think we were in the branch 3 jury room for our meeting and the courtroom there. But any rate, not far away. It's like, hour, 15 minutes or something, and definitely worth checking out, because it obviously was the retaining of something old, and there's clearly something new also there, and then some remodeling of the old. So I think it was a combination of the 2 maybe. So worth checking out,
So I guess, Sheriff, I'd ask you to look into that for the next, probably 2026 capital maybe,
Yeah.
or maybe 27, 26 is done. Yeah, start looking into that and seeing what funds and what the plan could be.
And maybe it would be, maybe like the sheriff and some from the court, I'd be willing to go with you if you wanted to make a tour of some of these,
Other facilities.
of other facilities.
I've been wanting to get up to Trempealeau for a while, and I just haven't yet, but yeah.
Yeah. up there.
That's a
That's
little bit further.
That's a little further. Yeah, I know. I spent a lot of time up here. But it's Also, that was a well-done renovation too up there at Trempealeau and blended old and new. So,
Sounds like good new technology equipment that's good help, so. All right. Anything else? Courthouse security report, I think.
One more thing on that, I think we need to set up a meeting. We did some tabletop drills.
Oh, nice, okay.
In the courtroom, just for the court staff. I think that was helpful and useful. And so we need to set up a follow-up meeting on that, but that was an additional thing that we just kind of implemented with immediate staff. And so just wanted to let you know that that training and exercise did go on, that so that we could be better prepared in the event something would happen in the courtroom.
response to, you know,
Something.
Yeah,
response to any,
active threats.
yeah, active threats.
Yeah, that was a really good session.
Yeah.
That went well. Thanks to Mike Sis for doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so you said follow up on that, the sheriff's department follows up on that, or?
Well, I think the plan is we're gonna kind of start moving into probably more training, follow
Yeah.
that up with
Yeah.
and
Okay.
expand it out to other staff.
And there were suggestions that came out of that, like the changing the handle on that jury door
Mhm.
and stuff like that. There were some suggestions of very small, not capital
But helpful.
expenditures, just could be absorbed within a budget very easily. A
Good.
little bit of equipment here, there.
Mhm.
That's the
But
purpose of it.
I think that that's on the agenda, I think, isn't it, to follow up on that for court security meeting?
Okay, right, perfect.
Because that's one of the exit doors. You know, the courtroom really has 4 exit doors. 2 that are used by the public on each side, and then judge's chambers has a door, which can be used to get out of there. And it's right close to the jury, which would be the most logical place to try to get a jury out. And then right behind where the clerk of court sits, there is the door to the jury room. And so that also can be used to get out. And so, you know, unlike the small courtroom that only has one entrance and exit. Yeah, that's not a great thing. But the large courtroom, there's plenty if you really start to just like, where's the doors?
What's my fastest way?
But they need to be, you need to be able to open them. It would be bad if you
Gotcha.
try to go and it's locked. So we need to have a fast way to be able to get out through that.
That's why you do the tape training.
Yeah, we think about all this stuff all the time, but it was fun to, in a simulated thing and for everybody to brainstorm and come up, you know, it was memorable, because you actually got to talk about it and then practice it.
Yes.
And I think that's where it will be helpful to people to build a little bit of muscle and brain memory.
And the other thing that came out of that, one thing, in addition to doorknobs and some other things, is to look at possibly putting some bulletproof things on the inside of the judge's bench.
Oh.
So the rounded wooden bench, there's a couple different options. We had discussed using old bulletproof vests. Later on, Randy suggested maybe a bulletproof plexiglass. That might be a possibility too. So
They make some different panels. You could-
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anyway, continued discussion on ways that we could improve safety. It also exposed some vulnerabilities in that room.
Which isn't hard to do.
So, and that was only in the large courtroom,
Yeah.
that we didn't tackle the small courtroom yet, so.
Though we have talked about with the small courtroom, the way to put a second exit in would be to put a door behind the judge, you know, on that front wall somewhere that opened up then to like what's now the law library. Because that would, just like a jury room or a chambers, that would give you a way out of that room at least. I think probably everybody like that, probably even fire inspectors and such.
Yeah, I know there was, the office study that was done, made some mentions of some of those changes too. I know that was looked at. So.
And that's where a lot of the first time family hearings are held, like when people are getting divorced and the first time that the parties are together after one of them's been served, those can get pretty hot. And that's the courtroom where that stuff happens, because those are like off the record hearings. so they can be held at the same time the judge is having on the record stuff. So that's why the need for like 2 security officers when we have those situations, and that's how vulnerable that is in there. I mean, it's kind of scary to think about. And those are as dangerous as anything,
Yeah.
is that first time that parties come together in a family situation.
Good topic, good discussion, and good ideas, so thank you. All right, anything else for courthouse security? Right now, all right. Clerk of court.
Hey, good morning. Did you guys get my report? Okay, I need to set up a new email group now that I have. Is it Tiffany?
Yes.
Okay, Tiffany Thompson, District 9, got it. Everybody else I have in my group, so yep, okay, I'll update. So I got the report, fiscally, our budget that is as of the end of October, but I have already, closed out, reconciled, and dispersed the money collected in November to the county. They haven't, the fiscal department hasn't gotten it all recorded in the various accounts that it goes to. So that's why I didn't present you with a November one, because it's not up to date. So when I get that, I can give that to you, or you'll get it at least by the next meeting. Just for your benefit, Tiffany, the clerk of court, we're the clearinghouse for all of the money that goes through the court. And so statutorily, I'm an elected official. I have staff, together. We manage, we're like the central pivot of the court. So like case management, financial management, jury management, and management of the county resources that are used to run the court under the guidelines set by the state, because the courts are a state-county partnership. So that's in a nutshell of like what we do. In November, as of the end of October, or whatever, I should say, back up, we have exceeded our revenue projections for the year. So now the money that is going into the county's general fund as of the end of October was about 23,000 over our projections for the year. So that's gonna climb, obviously, because we've got 2 more months to get recorded. That's, always, I know that's, borrowing's a whole different thing, but I note this because last year we had a very large excess also into there. So when we talk about projects that need to be done and stuff, I mean, just want to note, the court heavily pulls its weight, as you know. So any rate, it's like sometimes we ask and we beg for things to be allocated out. But we do a really good job of putting money in and making sure that it's in there. So I don't know if there's a process for allocating some of that outside of borrowing, because I hate to see the county constantly borrowing if there is an excess that can be identified. But it's general, it goes into the general fund. So for departments that are going over on their budget, it's helping them. It's like a sponge to help, whatever, the spills. The budget looks pretty solid. At this point, a couple things that I would note, because they're fun to note, is state aid about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines down. Under the general fund revenues, the state aid circuit court cost appropriation, where we had a projection and we expected to receive $52,275 from the state as part of that partnership support. We actually, for fiscal activity, have received $76,931. That is because of the Clerk of Courts Association. We were successful in some major lobbying that we did, that we started about 3 years ago and really turned the heat up last year and pulled in the Wisconsin County Association on, and we were successful in the governor's budget getting more money allocated for the counties. So the additional money that we have this year reflects part of that biennial budget's allocation into this year's budget. We'll get more, and I think it's January. We'll also see a higher payment because they run July to the end of June, whereas we run January to December. So I think the second payment we're gonna get may be a little larger. I'm not.
Stacey, do you know if this is just part of this 2-year biennial budget, or is this statute that will continue
This
forward?
should, while it's in this, they changed the amount, that is going to the courts, so my understanding is that it will continue.
Okay. Statute or, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they could try to, it's.
They can always change it.
They could, yeah, they could change it. But so at the same time, we're still through AB 320, a Senate bill. That's where it started. Senate Bill 320 is, and I've talked about that before. That's to increase a number of fees to the courts, specifically for the counties. It's written to be only inclusive of those monies that get retained by the counties, which a lot of it is like portions of filing fees and things like that. It's not surcharges, unlike traffic tickets and stuff. If you get stopped for speeding, normal speeding's like 175/30. That's AB 320 doesn't affect those because much of that speeding ticket's made up of surcharges. This isn't the surcharge bill, it's fees. So what's happening right now is that there are groups, of course, like the Wisconsin County Association that support this because it's good for the counties. There's other groups like legal aid groups and indigency groups in the state that are fighting against it because they think that this is gonna be disproportionately hard on impoverished people. So the message that the clerk of courts are trying to get out and educate our lawmakers and anybody that talks about this bill is that when people file for a case, a new divorce, a small claims, whatever it is, if they are indigent, they get a waiver. They apply for a waiver. They don't pay any fees. So we hand out waivers and the judge signs orders to waive fees all the time. So this bill is not disproportionately tough on impoverished people because there's already a mechanism and they're not paying fees. And as far as like lawyer groups that have testified, when we've testified, the State Bar Association actually told the legislature that it's unfair because for victims in domestic abuse restraining orders and child abuse restraining orders, the fees will be higher. There are no fees assessed in those cases. There never have been. The only fees assessed in restraining order cases are harassment ones and only those that don't have like a violence element in them. If there's any violence element in there, the fee is waived. And petitioners can apply for a waiver of the fees. So it's like, we're not attorneys, we're not the fancy suits going in front of the legislature, you know, but we're kind of like, believe us. Believe us, they're using, I don't know if it's intentional or if it's greatly outdated information or what, but I've been a clerk of court, it'll be 19 years in July, and there has never been a fee for domestic abuse and child abuse restraining orders since I've been a clerk by statute. So if anybody talks to you about this bill or you hear anything, and you're likely to start hearing some stuff because the lobbyists in Milwaukee have supported the bill, but their county board passed a resolution against it this week. So there's like conflicting information coming out of Milwaukee, which makes up about half of the state on any given thing. So we're trying to pick up, particularly we'd love to have like Democrat co-sponsors on this bill, particularly from the Milwaukee area, because that would be helpful to counter this with the board. But I think the board is looking at it as those members are facing re-election in the spring. And that's a very, you know, it's a more like liberal voting area. And I think that they are going to use this as, you know, we got your backs, we're working for everybody, but.
Wisconsin County Associations is huge in this.
And the Wisconsin County Association is helping us with the message that this bill does not This is not a hammer down on impoverished people at all. This is to make right 30 years of non-movement in the fees that go to the counties. So, and the other argument on it is that, there are a lot of groups that believe that the cost of the courts should be 100% paid by the taxpayers. And so then it's like, okay, well, taxpayers, state, into your state taxes, your county taxes, what? And then are people gonna fight about who pays that? So it's not, yes, it may be a bit of a user fee for the courts, but the courts there's always been a cost to file something. There's a cost to get a birth certificate. There's a cost to get other agencies have cost for user fees.
Right.
So at any rate, that's big, and there may come a point that I'll write a resolution and ask the board to approve, but yeah, the county association is pulling for us.
They're huge, yeah, big
But
resource.
the clerks of court have we work tightly with them
Mhm.
now, constant communication. So that, other things, because, when people bail jump and such, if the DA motions to revoke their bond, we get their bond revoked, the judge will order that. Sometimes when warrants are made, the judge will just simply order the bond revoked, and that's the third item down there, bond forfeitures. So that's, pretty significant there, 14,000. And then there's some duplicate lines on this, and that's a result of still that cleanup that's happening with the fiscal.
The Tyler system.
Yeah, fiscal department, but, those were the things I wanted to know.
Questions for Stacy? Thank you for updating with Tiffany. There's a lot going on, as you can find out, so.
AB 320. So AB is like Assembly Bill 320. It just picked up it's picking up like co-sponsors. There's a Senate version of it too, and it just picked up another co-sponsor the other day, but I think they were like from the Brown County area or something.
It's a slow grind.
Yeah, but we just keep push.
All right, register and probate?
So just to kind of, since we were talking about budgets, I feel like in 2025, we're really working hard at recouping the guardian ad litem fees and the adversary council. So I don't know, back on Stacy's, it included the register and probate guardian ad litem fees and things. So that is one thing that we have put a lot of effort into, is trying to recoup fees this year. I would say we put more time with my deputy than I have been able to. There's times where I wouldn't have a deputy, and I couldn't always put the effort that we really needed to in recouping those fees, and I feel like we are doing that now. Having a person in my office and being able to focus on that has, helped a little bit in contributing to getting some of those revenues back. My budget is under budget right now, so that looks good. I don't foresee some of the cases that were very time consuming, a lot of time, or to a lot of adversary fees have come to a conclusion. So although attorneys will be sending a reminder notice to get all of their 2025 bills into us here. So that'll be I need to remind them. They've been better, I feel like, this year at submitting their bills more on a at least quarterly basis. But we still have to remind the attorneys to get their bills in. I know that sounds funny, but we do.
Surprising.
So, and a lot of times, and the reason for that, I think, is sometimes they think, oh, I'm just gonna wait till the case is completed and then submit this big bill. So that's why it seems like that, they do things the way they do, but for us with our budgets is helpful. But when Stacey was talking, like, oh, I need to remind the attorneys to get their bills.
For their income, I think it would be helpful.
But they have
One would think.
numbers every week probably. don't they?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
all sorts of places, everywhere.
No, they don't. They don't.
They don't, but they could.
They could, but they up it.
Sometimes I get on them and I ask them to do interim bills.
Yeah.
Particularly as it's, well, yeah, like you're winding up to the end of the year, like, I don't care if your case is still open,
Yeah.
give me a bill.
Yeah, catch up.
Yeah.
It's their money.
You gotta get tough with them.
Other than that, I feel like we kind of have just been taking care of business and things. I don't have anything new or, any big requests, on our end, so.
Right.
I guess Tiffany, if you have questions on anything, each month we try and kind of talk about one thing or another. Right now, I feel like our guardianships have been taking a lot of time in the office, a lot of time in court. So guardianships can be both, for adult guardianships that where like an adult might have dementia and they need a guardian, an attorney acting in their best interest. If they're contesting, then they would also have adversary counsel. So when you see those things on our budgets for guardian ad litem fees and adversary counsel, so sometimes the guardian ad litem is supposed to act in their best interest, but that may not be what they want. And so you have one attorney saying, this is what this person needs. This is the care they need. They need to not live in their home anymore, unfortunately. They need to live where they have 24-hour skilled nursing care. And then you have the attorney that's their adversary counsel, representing them and saying that they want to still live in their home. And so that's the fees that we have. And the guardian ad litem court appointed is mandatory that we have a guardian ad litem form. It's not it's as per Wisconsin statute. That, and the same thing for juvenile guardianship. So let's say that a grandma is applying to be the guardian of a grandchild because the parent, their son or daughter is not in a good place right now. And sometimes they're not available because they're incarcerated or whatever the case may be. So then we have juvenile guardianships. The same thing, we have to have a guardian ad litem for those cases. So when we're talking about attorney fees, we're talking about guardian ad litem fees and then adversary counsel. And those are required.
Because you're taking away somebody's rights.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times, the guardian, then, the grandmother, the guardian, the family, sometimes they're corporate guardians because there's no family available. So then we have to hire the APS Adult Protective Services works with finding a corporate guardian to help take care of that person. So if there's anything that, acronyms or anything that we're saying, you're like, what? is that? So other than that, that's all I have for this month.
Right, any questions, comments, maybe? Right, very good, thank you. District Attorney, don't have anything in the file, not here.
I might be preparing for trial for next week.
Okay. All right, moving on, emergency management, department activities.
Fees for this month and the close of the year is going to be all the grand closeouts for computer hazmats, EMPG, which is still up in the air because of the fight between the White House and FEMA. It's still uncertain how EMPG is going to play out. It's anybody's guess how FEMA is going to be restructured. And a lot of the way the grants are administered to the states and then to counties for Wisconsin depends on how FEMA is defined and how the grant and budget cycle occurs through OMB. So hard to say what's going to happen with that. I'm still going to do all the deliverables, and Darren and I are going to close it out like we normally would. They just have all the documents and the paperwork and the deliverables and the closeouts all formally done in case the court cases on the MPG in the state and the region are settled before the end of the year.
Good luck,
Because,
bud.
yeah. So if I have everything on the table and it's all signed off and deliverables are where they need to be, then we would get all of the money back. And it could be retroactive. So in 2026, if all the court cases for the population redistricting that they're trying to do based on immigration, if all that gets settled through the federal courts, then DHS would be mandated to return the grants back to the states that they're holding right now on freeze. And then we would get our EMPG dollars for the salary for emergency management. So we're gonna work through that. CHIRA is on today's agenda, and EPRA is mostly closed. I think I have to do a couple of sign-offs and some closeouts for EPRA.
Would you go over what EPCRA is? I mean, might as well just touch
Yeah.
on basis on item 8 right away.
EPRA is Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, and it came out of the Bhopal disaster of '86, I believe. Is it '84? When did it happen?
No.
Pretty close to the same time Chernobyl happened. But because of that chemical accident in India with mixed gas with methyl isocyanate, killed about it injured about 200,000 people and killed several tens of thousands. So Congress here in '86, '87 decided that we got to do something about this. So we're going to create this public law that then mandates that an agency take over chemical hazards, which at the time happened to be EPA. So then EPA created state emergency response boards, and those boards were responsible for each county setting up an LEPC, which is a local emergency planning committee. And then the LEPCs develop plans for all the facilities inside the county that may release pretty toxic, they call it extremely hazardous substances, EHSs, as well as OSHA chemicals, which are just hazardous materials. So under EPRA, we get an amount of money from the state to develop those plans and administer those plans, have meetings, and so forth and so on. So that's the EPRA. EMPG stands for Emergency Management Planning Grant, which is the emergency management side. So emergency management consists of your basic response planning capabilities, exercise design, following up with things with courthouse security. So the EM side of the house does that, and then we take care of things like the flood disaster in Viola in 2007. So EM would be responsible for that. On the other side of the house is hazardous material planning. On that side, you're strictly focused on extreme hazards to the community and vulnerabilities associated with chemical processing plants like the dairies or extremely hazardous materials coming through the highway corridors. So we do that also. So anyway, that's a survey of that. So for me, for my department activities this time around, I'm just looking at closing out all the grants and administration associated with taking the money from the federal government, the state government to do these programs.
I understand this part of things better because I'm an OSHA instructor.
Oh, I mean,
Oh,
okay,
perfect,
yeah,
all right.
You know, I have comments, I know.
I've got that, yeah.
All right.
So
All right.
I teach OSHA stuff mainly
Oh, okay.
and stuff, so, but you know, I'm understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Perfect.
yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So we do have discussion and action on the grant?
Yeah, if you want to do that now, we can do that now, or you want to do the PSAP first?
I guess let's do item 8. We talking about that. Let's take care of item 8 right away.
Yeah, might as well. Okay, so the CHIRA grant is set up to provide funding for hazmat teams in each county and any associated local hazmat costs. So depending on the year, if there's something that we see coming up or if a plan is making a change, we need a meter or we need some kind of detector or we need to set up extra plans for that facility, then each year we can write Richland County into that grant to get a little extra money for us locally. So last year we got ammonia and chlorine detection devices on this grant. But this year there wasn't anything like that really going on. So we took all of this year's money and gave it to Vernon County. Vernon County is the 4-county hazmat team that serves Vernon, Crawford, Richland, and Iowa. All right, and so each county gets its own computer hazmat grant, and they can decide what they need to do with it. But since we're in a consortium with Vernon County, 9 times out of 10, we're going to take the whole grant and give it to them so they can equip the truck, so that they can come down here and respond. So that's what this is for. So I write for that grant in the fall of every year to get that money so we can get it to the hazmat team so that they can provide service to Richland County. So that's what that's about. This has been in existence since about 1991. Crawford, Iowa, and Richland have a joint agreement with Vernon to run the 4-county hazmat team, and in exchange for our grant contributions, Vernon County Hazmat provides coverage for all 4 counties. And Iowa County has their own trailer because they're that far away from Baroqua in terms of response time. So Amanda Gardner down in Iowa County is taking care of a contingent of the Vernon County Hazmat. So we pool all of our money together and get all the equipment and distribute it. We distribute the funds among ourselves back up to Baroqua so they can supply everything back to us. So for this year, our award is going to be $63,3901, and it's a 20% match for this. So the county has to come up with $1,584.75 as a match. So I need to write a resolution for the match. Resolution is, I think, somewhere. I think that's the cover letter for it. I don't know if Tricia could, oh, there it is. So that's the resolution that I need to have approved to the local match of roughly $1,600 up to Vernon County. So
we have a motion from Chad to move this forward. Looking for a second. Second from Tiffany. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? None, that is moved forward. Thank you. And
yes,
critically important, and glad the funding's
I
there.
want to make sure that that stays intact. So
And-
moves the county board next Tuesday night for.
Yes, will that make it to the next county board by Tuesday for approval? Good,
I
okay.
think,
I'll go follow up on that.
yeah,
Yeah, everything should be ready. Right, anything else on emergency management, or we'll move on to the PSAP? You good, Jonathan?
that's all I have.
Okay, PSAP NG 911 grants, topics on that. I know you applied and.
We applied and we had received the PSAP grant. I know Devin has been working with the vendor we were looking at for the dispatch furniture. They came back to us with some newer options they have that are actually a little bit more affordable. So we've been looking at that. And I think we're just kind of waiting for the language to come out for the NG 911 grant.
For the GIS part
For
of
the
it,
GIS part, yep.
correct. Yes, hopefully that'll be at this month or first part of next
Yeah.
month, yeah.
Yep.
That's a new challenge. So, all right, anything else on the PSAP engine and GIS grant? All right, hearing none, radio tower update.
So we are still projecting to change over in January. I myself am working on getting our last few pieces of equipment that we need to operate on the new system as the sheriff's office. And I've got our last few radios ordered. And I believe they're actually all sitting on shelves in Madison. So we're gonna probably have them hold until we're ready to put them in a car and switch over to the new system at this point.
I did do a follow-up on those radios you had in basement.
Yeah.
Not compliant.
Yeah, so what the issue is, what we have with those is they will work in a pinch. I guess
Yes.
I would describe it.
Yeah, but not well, yeah.
But they won't scan channels. So that's the issue with
Right.
it. They'll work, well, some of them will work P25 conventional, but they won't scan multiple channels. So you can only listen to the channel you have selected. If you want to listen to a different channel, you got to get off that channel and go to a new channel. Then you're not going to hear your other channel anymore. So it's not useful, certainly not useful for us in law enforcement. But one of those things where I have talked to some people and might work in a pinch for some other people if they just had them in a fire truck or something like that, where they're not necessarily going to be needing to scan all the time.
You know your single channel.
Your single
Yeah,
channel.
that's the challenge.
Yeah. For us, we operate on multiple channels and you need to hear multiple channels, so they don't work for us. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're working on the networking between the towers. We've run into an issue with hunting season. Some of the landowners that we have tower sites on, we're hoping we can work with them and not spend a lot of time in these sites during deer season, which I can't blame them. So we've been working around with that, but we're back able to work up in the Viola site and our Westport site, which we need to get back up into They're actually muzzleloader hunting through the weekend, so we won't get back there until Monday. But we have other sites that we're completing work on. And like I said, they're gonna start working on the microwave connections and the networking. So all the towers will talk to each other and getting that stuff in order. We are working on plans for plowing, snow removal. Obviously, that became an issue recently. And so we're working on our plans right now, working with both highway shop and maintenance department as to who will get what tower sites. There are certain tower sites that'll be getting it done with the maintenance pickup and plow, and that will be feasible. There are other tower sites where that's probably too small of equipment to clear snow from with that. So Viola, Westport, those are some pretty challenging roads, roads that we ourselves cut in as the county, and the green and everything. We're gonna need a bigger piece of equipment to clear them. So we're working through the planning for that, not just for the interim while we're still working on the project, but what it's gonna look like in the future going forward. So.
All right.
So will all the other departments in the county be able to use this system without additional equipment, or they have stuff in place already?
So highway stayed analog. We kept all the highway stuff analog. So nothing's really changing for them other than they're getting additional tower sites. Ambulance, I know they were working, and I guess that more to talk about, but Tricia had been working with not only ambulance, but the fire departments trying to get programming costs, as we said we would help with reprogramming equipment, programming costs and kind of dire equipment needs from some of our fire and EMS agencies to make sure everybody's ready to switch over. So I know Tricia has been working very hard on that. And we're trying to make sure everybody's ready to switch over.
Okay.
This will be a transitional switch over the sheriff's
Yeah, so
department,
we're
law
gonna-
enforcement stuff.
We're gonna go live first on one of the ops channels as the plan. We can't switch over to the new law channel, because if we switch over to the new law channel, we give up it's the same frequency, it's just
Right.
analog versus digital.
Right.
And we can't run on both at the same time. So we're gonna switch on one of our new ops channels. We're gonna test the ops channel for a period of time before we fire up the other channels and bring everybody else over.
Oh, okay.
So
So they have time
Get the bugs out, figure out the programming part,
Yeah.
connections. Yep.
yeah, so we'll do that initial testing phase, and then hopefully sometime spring and summer, we will do the road testing. So,
to, should be pretty smooth then, hopefully.
Hopefully. That's why you do steps. That's why you're stepping out.
no, smooth has been the theme of this project, but we're getting there.
Well, there have been other county projects that have been more challenging and some less challenging, but overall, it's coming together.
It is.
It just
It's
took,
coming together.
it took all the pieces. All right. Anything else on the radio tower updates? All right. Any questions? Okay, hearing none. Correspondent? I've got no correspondence. Item number 10, future agenda items. Anything in particular? Anybody? Questions? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn from Julie and second by Chad. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll see you in January.
So we'll, January 2nd, correct?
Oh, is
So-
that the first?
Right.
Yeah, that's the first Friday is January 2nd.
Technically, yes. But, well, it goes for us.
think it will?